for being here. Happy Labor Day. I think that this is a real demonstration and an example of how the men and women of the city of New Orleans work hard every single day and have been as we prepare for Tropical Storm Gordon. I do want to just acknowledge and recognize and also thank our new leader of the Sewage and Water Board, Mr. Ghassan Carban, who is joining us, who will begin tomorrow, but he has been boots on the ground with us in preparation. The city of New Orleans is making preparations for Tropical Storm Gordon that will impact our area late Tuesday through Wednesday. Gordon will primarily be a rain event with the potential of high winds throughout the city and storm surge in areas outside of the levee protection system. Public safety is our absolute first priority. That's why we're taking every step and all steps necessary to ensure that we are prepared. Our team in the Emergency Operations Center, EOC, is activated and has been activated over the past couple of days and is coordinating with our partners at the state level. I had my first conversation and touch with Governor John Bell Edwards on Friday, and we did touch base this afternoon, actually this morning. We're cleaning catch basins, again being proactive, in areas that we're being notified and identified by our residents throughout the city. We're responding, and we're responding in real time. We've got the pumps and power we believe we need, again, to be safe and protect our residents. We've pre-staged barricades in flood-prone areas and have emergency personnel ready to respond. We will make a determination tomorrow on the closure of city facilities. However, we're prepared to do so if need be come Wednesday, should the forecast deem necessary. We're also in constant contact with our school partners who are joining us even here this afternoon, and we'll be making the decisions about possible closures again as we receive more information about Tropical Storm Gordon. I'm asking that all residents do their part in preparing for this storm. Prepare your property for heavy rain and wind. Clear gutters, downspouts, and of course in front of catch basins around your property. You can move your vehicles to the neutral ground starting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Just please do not block intersections nor block our street car tracks. Plan to shelter in place when severe weather does arrive. Make sure you've gotten bottled water, non-perishable food items, medication, as well as flashlights. Beginning tomorrow morning, 311 will be open and will remain open 24/7. Our call, 311 for non-emergency, and of course 911 for any emergency issues. Because of the combined threat of existing coastal flooding and the increased surge from Gordon, I'm asking residents outside of the levee protection system to, one, exercise extreme caution. At this time, I'm also issuing a voluntary evacuation order only for areas outside of the levee system, which includes Venetian Isle, Lake Catherine, and Irish Bayou. As of now, the Flood Protection Authority does not anticipate closing Highway 90 or Highway 11 floodgates. Again, we are all in this together. Please check on family, neighbors, pets, friends. Together, we're ready for Gordon. Now I will turn it over to our public safety leaders, who will give you an update on their various areas of preparation. So at this time, I will call on our Director of Emergency Preparedness, Mr. Colin Arnold. There you go. Stay to the left.
Thank you, Mayor. I have some information from the National Weather Service, and they just got off a conference call with us. Couldn't make it over here, but just wanted to talk about Tropical Storm Gordon. It's continuing on a northwest track. Main impacts late Tuesday through Wednesday. There is some potential for Gordon to turn into a low-level hurricane. We're going to be tracking that very closely with the Weather Service. We have another briefing with them at 4 o'clock. Strong winds, tropical storm warning is in effect for the parish. There's potential for winds 60 to 70 miles per hour in this event, mostly gusts, mostly in coastal areas. people need to be cautious. There could be scattered power and communications outages because of these winds. And again, as the mayor mentioned, storm surge is already, the current tides are about a foot to a foot and a half above normal, unrelated to Gordon. So this could cause a little bit higher surge because of that. She mentioned about Venetian Isles. I just wanted to say, as far as from the New Orleans Office of Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness, we've had a relatively quiet season. I just want to make sure that residents of the city know that whether it's quiet or busy, we have the same operational rhythm every year. We've been training, we've been exercising, we've been preparing. I have people upstairs working right now, and we're working for the citizens of this city. It's time for the citizens to take care of themselves and their families and their neighbors, and I think one of the biggest ways they can do that is through being informed. The best way you can do that is, again, tomorrow morning through this event, 311 will be active 24 hours a day. You will talk to a human voice when you call. Ready.NOLA.gov. Everything that I talk about when we step up here is going to be on there, on the website. And then social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at NOLA Ready. We're also on Nextdoor. And I'd also like to say that you can text your zip code to 888-777 and receive emergency alerts as well. I'm going to pass the mic to Deputy Chief Paul Newell from the New Orleans Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
The New Orleans Police Department is trained, prepared, and ready to respond to this event. We have boats and high water vehicles available and ready to be deployed in the field to assist in rescue operations as needed. As the mayor said, we're asking everybody to please stay indoors and especially do not drive once we start experiencing conditions related to this event. We will have barricades erected and manned at all of the underpasses in the city once we start to experience street flooding. Please do not move these barricades or drive around these barricades. If you encounter an underpass that has standing water, please do not drive into it. If you remember, not that long ago, we had a vehicle drive into an underpass, and not only was the occupant of that vehicle in great danger, but one of our police officers also had to go in the water and rescue a person, which put that police officer in great danger as well. So please, for the safety of our officers and for your safety as well, do not drive into underpasses if you see standing water. And finally, I'd like to remind everyone, do not drive on flooded streets where you push water into other people's homes, cars, or property. That is against the law. If you do that and we see you, we will issue you a citation. If we don't see you, but we receive evidence, like video evidence, that we can substantiate that you did that, we will come find you after this event and we will issue you a citation. Please work with us to keep everyone safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief McCollum.
Afternoon. Once again, we believe, as always, we lecture about preparedness. We ask that everyone be prepared for the event that may happen. In this case, the storm seems to be taking a little bit of a turn towards the east, which is beneficial to us, but you never know. We ask that everyone stay up to date, monitor the social media and the news reports that we put out so that you are prepared for the event. We ask everyone to use particular caution. If you have electricity out in this event, if you use generators, remember, generators must be outside. Inside the home, they pose a risk of carbon monoxide poisoning and death as a result of that. Candles, be very, very careful. I would tell you personally, don't use any candles at all. Bear it out, wait for daylight. Candles are very dangerous, and when we do have fires in these events, that's what they result from. People either being careless with the use of trying to use a candle, or something along the lines. We had a generator where someone had it up against their house and it caught the house on fire. So we'd ask everyone to be particularly careful. Much like Chief Noel said, be particularly careful with flooded streets. Once again, firefighters are out there. We have 23 boats. We have our folks prepared. We'll have upstaffing in the event of, we'll be upstaffed, and in the event of flooding, we'll be out there helping to protect people. We do believe in this case that we're not going to face that given what we're getting, but once again, we ask that everyone stay prepared, listen to the police reports, the news reports that we have out there, and be prepared for anything that may come your way. Once again, be safe. If this event comes like it looks like, just hunker down, wait for it to pass, and make sure you keep an eye on your neighbors and your friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Dr. Nichols.
Good afternoon. New Orleans EMS is adequately prepared to handle this incoming weather. We have increased staffing over the next 48 hours to respond to calls as needed. We will continue to respond to 911 calls as long as the weather allows us to safely be in the streets. Our crew is also part of our citizens, so if the weather becomes unsafe, the EMS responsiveness may be altered at that point, but it will resume as soon as the safety of our crew is confirmed. We have been working directly with the Department of Health throughout this incoming weather to ensure that the safety of our most vulnerable citizens, our homebound and bedridden citizens, is being addressed in advance, and we will be available as needed. I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Avegno to speak more on that.
Good afternoon. The New Orleans Health Department is prepared to assist those with any medical or mobility needs. Today, we activated the Special Needs Registry from 9 to 3 p.m. The Special Needs Registry call center will be fully staffed starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow and will continue throughout the storm. We will be prepared to fully staff a medical special needs shelter post-storm if people are unable to stay in their homes due to power outages. We have also spoken with all of the local hospitals and healthcare facilities in the region to ensure that they are prepared, and at this time, all facilities are operating under normal conditions. Thank you.
Good afternoon. The Sewers and Water Board is ready for this event. We've been preparing all hurricane season and making a concerted effort to prepare since last week. Standing shoulder to shoulder with Ghassan Corbin, the new director, and we have been making preps all day since he's come aboard. We're doing this together. Please know that the improvements that the Sewers and Water Board has made to the operational systems are significant and leaps and bounds above what we saw last August. I want to go over just a few quick points on system readiness. For our internal power capabilities, we have 77 megawatts of 25 hertz power available. This power available well exceeds our total connected load, which is somewhere around 55, and we anticipate needing only about 35 megawatts. So we're good on internal power. Pumps, 116 operational out of 120, that's 97% across our system. As far as staffing and manpower, we have essential and on-call personnel where they need to be right now. We will be making sure they are on site prior to the rain event starting. Drinking water operations, no degradation. We're under standard operating procedures at this time. Sewage operations, no degradation under standard operating procedures. I'd like to allow Ghassan to say a few words too.
Thank you, Admiral. Well, allow me to be a little lighthearted by saying timing is everything. I've been getting a lot of sympathetic or sympathy texts and emails about the timing, and the only thing that I'm a little upset about, I didn't get a chance to maybe talk to the powers to be and name the tropical storm Ghassan instead of Gordon. There is a reason why the Admiral and I are standing shoulder to shoulder, is to assure the public and the mayor and the common council that we will have a seamless passing of the baton. He has been a great leader for the Sewage and Water Board in a very, very crucial time, so it's been awesome, and hopefully I'm hoping that he will continue to be a strong leader as part of the utility as well. Since this is my first public appearance, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the mayor and the board of directors of the Sewage and Water Board for having the confidence and trust in me and selecting me to take on the major role of being the executive director for the Sewage and Water Board. I'm very excited about that opportunity. I had the opportunity today to sit in and kind of stay out of the way with staff during the EOC preparedness meeting. And I have to tell you, the word that comes to mind is they exuded confidence. They gave me such a level of comfort that we are ready in terms of resources, in terms of preparation, having the resources and everything else that is needed. So I'm here to take that stand and say we are ready for you tomorrow for the storm, that is. So thank you very much.
Ramsey Green.
Thank you, Mayor. Ramsey Green, Deputy CAO for the City for Infrastructure. Just a couple of updates on the operations and infrastructure side of the City Hall. Specifically, one on parks and parkways, we have trucks on both the east and west bank emptied and ready to pick up debris, trees, that kind of stuff, limbs. Sanitation department, trash and recycling. If your day is tomorrow, we will be picking up. We're going to make the call later in the afternoon, depending on weather conditions, as to the state of trash and recycling pickup on Wednesday. Vertical construction sites that you see on the surface and subsurface side of the city, as well as construction sites throughout the city. All contractors have been made aware. Secure your materials, secure your people, and make those sites safe. On the Department of Public Works, all weekend we have been deploying back trucks. You've probably seen them out there. Those folks are working really hard. We're working very closely with the Sewage and Water Board to make sure if we see, anything between our collective assets and labor pool, we will go out there and make sure as best we can as we respond to 311 calls, 911 calls, social media showing flooding. We get out there and we deploy our assets to make sure those things get cleaned up. Additionally, on the property management side, we've got about over 90% of our generators in our city assets, including police stations, fire stations, working and functioning and checked. Our city buildings are secure. We're ready to do assessments both for property management assets and the construction that the city is doing vertically. Finally, if you see flooding, please report it. Call 311. Go on social media, show it. The NOSEP office looks at social media reports of flooding. We've been doing that all weekend, and those folks in DPW maintenance are working hard to do so. Finally, we are coordinating with the court system in terms of their buildings, securing their buildings, and they're asking us their thoughts on Wednesday. So the same sort of angle that the mayor attributed, we're going to look at city hall operations. Same goes with courts, and we'll coordinate very closely with them. I'm going to turn it over to Tad Patella from Entergy to give us an update on Entergy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramsey. Good afternoon. Entergy is prepared to respond to any potential impact that Tropical Storm Gordon may bring our way. Line and vegetation contractors have been alerted to have workers on standby and ready to respond when needed. Planning discussions are taking place with our state and system storm response teams to ensure readiness for this storm. Entergy has established ongoing communication with Sewage and Water Board leadership and has proactively patrolled our lines, serving Sewage and Water Board to address any potential concerns. Proactive communications are beginning today to inform customers of Entergy storm preparedness, potential impacts, and restoration estimates when available. Customers are encouraged to safely finalize their personal storm plans. Entergy is working today to secure all open excavation sites in order to ensure public safety throughout any potential wind impact, as well as the potential for floodwaters. Entergy command centers will be open, and Entergy personnel will be present at the city's EOC as needed. Finally, for more information, we encourage customers to visit EnergyStormCenter.com or to text REG to 368-374 for text alerts, as well as to follow us on Twitter and or Facebook. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tyrell Morris. I'm the Executive Director of the Orleans Parish Communication District, also known as New Orleans 911. At OPCD, we understand that 911 is a critical link between the public and our emergency services here in the city. We take that responsibility very seriously. So the last 48 hours, our team has double-checked and triple-checked our infrastructure support systems to include our generators, our sewer system, to make sure that our building will be available at any time. One thing I'll remind the public that 911 is for life-threatening emergencies only. If you need a response from a public safety agency, the non-emergency line is 504-821-2222. But again, life-threatening emergencies should be reported to 911. To monitor street flooding, the city has set up a website for you to view it at streetwise.nola.gov. If you have the mobile app of that version, you can call 911 directly from the app, and our call taker will process your call immediately. For us, reported street flooding is a life-threatening emergency. So if you come across street flooding or underpasses that Chief Noel talked about, please dial 911 and let us know so we can get units out there and get the street closed off. Thank you.
At this time, will council members? Yes.
Good afternoon. So I drove around District E this morning and this afternoon, and so I want to encourage all my residents to pick up minor stuff that is hanging around, especially after our Labor Day picnic, because that could harm properties, it could harm other people. And I want to emphasize on my family and friends in Venetian Isle and in Lake Catherine and Fort Pike. Please make a decision. It is a voluntary evacuation per our mayor, but please evaluate your situation and make a sound decision for your family. If I could just shift over to our non-English speaking resident. Trước khi xin thì cũng muốn báo cho quý vị là trong vòng một ngày sẽ báo của Gordon nó sẽ tới. Nếu quý vị có chuyện gì mà cần á, thì quý vị lên gọi 911 là để có thể giúp quý vị. Xin thì muốn khuyến khích quý vị là lên sở soạn để cho quý vị có những cái nơi mà quý vị có thể chạy nếu mà phải bỏ nhà đi. Nên cố gắng mua đồ nước hoặc đồ khô cho gia đình, để như vậy nếu quý vị mà cần phải ở nhà thì quý vị sẽ có đủ đồ hết. Preparation is the key to survival, so I want to encourage every citizen in the city of New Orleans to prepare. Do not procrastinate, and we want to make sure that that all of us come out safe. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. One note from energy, one thing we saw a couple weeks ago was down power lines. People, please be careful of those. When you have winds of these magnitudes, it's possible for that to happen. Please notify energy, please stay away. Another note that the mayor said very well is that a lot of information is going to come across Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure your devices are charged. You're going to need that information, and so it's a simple thing, but make sure that you have full power on those as we approach this event. I want to reiterate a couple of things that was already said. One, the mayor is absolutely right to make sure that you have bottled water, non-perishable food items. And I know this is the third time it's been said, but I can't emphasize enough not driving down flooded streets and driving at high rates of speed. It does push the water excessively onto other people's yards, creates difficulties for everybody. And in the areas that flood, you know where you are. So please, please be careful about that. Thank you.
Repetition is great.
Good afternoon. It's clear that everybody standing on this side is committed to making sure that all of our citizens stay safe. But the fact is, we can only do what we can do, and our citizens have to take an active part in that too. Now, this is not going to be Hurricane Katrina, but it is still a very dangerous storm that we all need to be very, very, very aware of. Do not dismiss this. Do not take this lightly because it's a tropical storm or may get to a Category 1. There is still the potential for damage not only to human lives but to property. So please, please make sure you keep you and your family safe. Please pay attention to all the alerts, and please make sure that you stay weather alert. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. That does conclude our press conference for this afternoon. And just on another note, in terms of the city being proactive, we definitely use the Real-Time Crime Center as another tool to look for street flooding, and we take the necessary actions if we do find from the Real-Time Crime Center. But that concludes our press conference, and we'll take questions. Ms. LaToya.
Mayor, you had expressed at a previous press conference months ago concerns about what might be going on with under-street laterals and catch basins in the area around Mid-City Pump Station 2. What do you think is the status right now of that?
Well, during, you bring up our last incident where the city was proactive going out there, having the vac trucks, and us finding that those drains were actually cleared, which we have that entire area under an investigation, literally, because we need to get to the bottom of what is causing the street flooding in that particular zone. This is also post-construction of the VA hospital as well as UMC in that area, which we cannot conclude that that has caused a level of flooding, but we cannot rule it out because, again, that construction and the use of those facilities are something that we were not used to previously. So we're looking at the whole. But in terms of precautions for that particular area, barricades are aligned along Broad Street, and we will be closing off Broad Street from traffic if the area continues to flood like we've seen previously.
What will determine if you do that?
Well, if we do see flood water, just as we will put out barricades throughout areas that have been identified, whether they're under overpasses or the like, or underpasses, the street in terms of Broad Street as well as Orleans are now a part of that fabric, just a precautionary measure, because we want traffic to not, we don't want to see traffic accumulating in that area as we've seen previously.
I have two quick questions. One, sandbags were a big hit for the storms last year. Do you plan on opening any sandbag locations like at firehouses? And the second one, do you have a time frame on when you could ask for a state of emergency from the state or from your federal partners?
Well, we have been in constant communication with our state partners. We have our draft declaration prepared and ready for signature from a civil court judge. So we're prepared. We are awaiting on our partners as well, our state partners, our governor. We believe by the morning 10 a.m. we will have a briefing, and we will move forward if necessary at that time. However, we're prepared. I will ask Chief McConnell to speak on the sandbags. This is his initiative and always right on time.
Right now, we're monitoring the weather. If reports come in, and once again, every couple of hours, we're working with the National Weather Service, where we need to ramp up the sandbags, we will do that. At this time, we don't believe it's necessary with the pumping the way it is and the reports of where the storm is going, not necessary. But we are prepared to do it similar to what we did the past couple of occasions. So yes, we are prepared for that and ready to roll if we have to.
All right, Tom, speak to you.
Yeah, for the Sewage and Water Board, as it relates to the pumps, which specifically are not available currently, and which of those are the major drainage pumps as opposed to the constant?
Sure, we have the 116 out of the 120, which puts us and gives us more power than we've seen in over a decade. But I will ask the Admiral if he wants to add anything to that. That's fine.
Sure, why don't I get Joe come on up and address that,
Sensibi,
our
yeah.
operations, Joe Sensibi, I'll stand with
Sure. Joe Sensibi with the Sewage and Water Board Operations Group. So the four pumps that are currently out of service is one is a pump out in far New Orleans East at pump station 15. It's a 250 cubic foot per second pump. Not a concern. New Orleans East has a tremendous amount of storage, a lot of green space, so that hasn't been a problem. The other pump that's out is a pump at pump station 4, which is out in Gentilly at the end of Warrington. That pump actually has been installed. Crews have been working throughout the weekend at 24 hours a day to get it installed. They did a dry run this morning. They're continuing to fine tune that. It's gonna be touch and go to see if we can get it in service in time, but we're gonna work hard to do that. The other pump is one of the pumps out at Station 13 out in Algiers. If you remember, this time last week we had two pumps out. Over the weekend, our Sewage and Water Board crews and our contract crews were able to get one of those large 1,000 cubic foot per second pumps back online. Tested it over the weekend and it did well, so it is now available for service. Again, at Station 13 out in Algiers, one of the small, what we call the constant duty pumps, that just for dry weather flow it's part of the count. So we count it when it's in and we count it when it's out. It's only an 80 cubic foot per second pump, and it's currently out of service, but it really doesn't contribute at all to major drainage operations.
And as for turbines, turbine 1 is not available, and turbine 4 is still available. It's like an emergency basis.
So turbine 1 is not available for our typical rotation, but it is available on an emergency basis if need be. Turbine 4 is we finished major commissioning last week and is currently proposed to be part of the rotation this week.
Are you concerned about Florida Avenue Canal? It's clogged up with trees and stuff.
Not at this time. I mean, we've been out and surveying the canals over the past couple of weeks, and they've done a lot of maintenance with grass cutting and tree removal and things like that. I'm not saying we got through all of it, but I think we've made a great dent into what was brought to our attention several weeks ago.
Okay, Fox 8. You said the pumps are at 97% capacity. How much rain have you taken? Can you kind of explain that?
So, 97% capacity, 97%
It all depends on how much rain, where, and for how long. So typically you've heard the, 1 inch per hour, half inch thereafter, and that's kind of a system-wide, probably a conservative system-wide estimate. So what we've seen with storms in the past, and what we're probably gonna see with this storm, is very intense localized rainfall, and typically once we exceed probably 2 to 3 inches in an hour is when the system exceeds its design capacity, and that's when we start to see street flooding. But it just depends on how much rain. If we get 2 to 3 inches in 20 minutes, that's a lot different event than 2 to 3 inches over 3 hours.
WGNO? Anyone else? Thank you all for coming.
Just really quickly, for schools, I know it's probably not a decision you'll make, but is that something that could come early tomorrow morning, given the fact that parents may have to make arrangements or preparations for Tuesday and Wednesday?
The school system, as I mentioned, we have been in constant communication with. I know that Mr. Sam Joel is here with us this afternoon as well. And is Sam here? Where did Sam go? I wanted him to speak on that. But at any rate, they are awaiting to make the call. We're hoping by in the morning, but school is expected to go as planned tomorrow.
And if that changes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we just get the name of the Entergy gentleman? I'm sorry.
Tad Patella.
P-A-C-E-L-L. 2 L.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you all so much. Happy Labor Day.